Are you ready, guys, for one more build? Well, if you are, then enjoy, because this is the day when I'm building my dream PC. What I was dreaming about a long time ago. That's why it might not be as powerful as it should for nowadays, but still, it's my dream computer, so enjoy watching. First, let's talk about parts. You probably are wondering what did I choose for CPU, GPU, storage, etc. So, here's what I'll be working with today. For the CPU, believe it or not, I always dreamed about i3. But which i3? Well, of course, 8th Gen. You might be asking yourself right now, why not 8th Gen i5? Why i3? They are basically at the same price right now. Well, guys, back then I mostly liked because of the box it came in, and 8th generation i3 was the first gen who came in that box. And specifically, which version of i3? Well, of course, most powerful one from the lower end tier, i3-8350K. I'd say that this i3 still is a respectable choice for enthusiasts like me who like to push CPUs to its limits, and this i3 isn't exception. You can push the CPU to 5 GHz, and if you are lucky, then maybe little above 5 GHz. But of course, if you don't agree with me that this lovely i3 still is the beast, then subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out my live streams, where I'll be talking about tech stuff and testing this CPU in different games. But now I will tell you about my dream graphics card, which somehow still till this day finds a way to sneak in my dreams. And that graphics card is the one and only GIGABYTE AORUS GTX 1080 Ti. Guys, do I need to tell you more? I think you are well aware of this beast. So I will continue with motherboard. And for motherboard specifically, I looked for 3 things. Motherboard needed to be micro ATX factor, support at least 2 NVMe drives, and support at least for basic overclocking features. And with these things in mind, my search results came to this ASRock Z370M Pro 4 board. I'd say pretty good enthusiast tier Mobo, even for nowadays, with tons of features. But next for RAM, I chose these cheap Netac 2 16GB sticks with support for XMP for 3200 megatransfers per second. But by the way, between us, this i3 only supports 2400 megatransfers per second, so. And same as RAM, for my main storage, I choose this shiny 250GB Netac NVMe SSD. But for my second drive, I installed this already tested and ready to go 1TB Crucial P3 Plus NVMe SSD. But with CPU cooler started the tricky part, because as you already know, this i3 doesn't get 5 GHz from thin air. It has whopping 91 Watt TDP, which just screams for liquid cooler. But guys, I never ever have had a dream where I build my dream PC and it's liquid cooled. No, in my dreams there is only one type of cooling method, and of course, it's air. That's why I'll be using this Arctic Freezer 34 Esports Duo Cooler, which will guarantee that this i3 never ever gets even close to 100 degrees. With overclocking, maybe 80, but not 100. And after trickiest part is over, it's time for computer case itself. And for too long, in my heart was sitting this CHIEFTEC BX10B OP case. Why this case? Well, first of all, it looks cool, with its minimalistic look and 2 glass side panels, and grills that resembles radiator. But also, it has support for 240mm AIO for future upgrades. But now, I started to assemble computer, starting with IO shield, so I don't forget it later. Oh, you thought that I forget about power supply? Well, think again. Because for wattage and Corsair's reliability's sake, I planted this Corsair CS450 bomb inside computer to test how long it will survive. Because GTX 1080 Ti alone need 300 watts, plus all these RGB fans, well, this will not gonna end well. But for now, I will install these AliExpress special RGB infinity mirror type fans in every possible place I can. And to make good enough airflow for components, I will install 3 intake fans on bottom of the case, which have interesting fan blades, if I may add. But basically it's just flipped normal fan blade around, so you don't need to look at these ugly casing thingies if you need intake fans. And for exhaust, there will be also 4 same model RGB fans. Why RGB fans? Well, interestingly, in AliExpress there was this huge sale for RGB fans, where these RGB fans were even cheaper than non-RGB. So why not? And with ton of time spent on fan install, I soon enough get motherboard inside successfully. So now it's time to put this cheap iGo RGB controller inside and spend another ton of time for cable management. Because this case doesn't really allow me to squish every RGB cable behind some unused HDD space. Because of wiring, I started to regret my life choices. But after one not too bad cable management behind, it was time to install GPU. And here, at the first glance, I was a bit afraid that the graphics card will not fit inside because of my good cable management. But actually, graphics card fitted inside pretty nicely. And before putting both side panels on, I tested if PC even turns on with C4 bomb planted inside, and only then I saw that power is just enough to spin fans to life and power on the computer. Not to give me that sexy futuristic RGB look what I was hoping for, but meh, is good enough for me. So here's the result. And as you can see here, power wasn't the issue why RGB fans didn't get RGB working. The issue was the RGB controller, who died on me on the first boot. But later it gave me this beautiful orange to red contrast look, which I actually really like. And there you have it. Now you guys know my dream PC. It's not perfect by any means, but all these imperfections make this build perfect for me. And in the end, I want to mention that from now on I will try to stream at least twice a week. And don't worry guys, I will not go anywhere else. I will stay here on YouTube. But why is it? Well, of course, to learn more about you guys and your own dream builds, and maybe upload some other type of content, gaming or something else, or even maybe gaming with you guys on stream. And that's why I would really appreciate if you join me by subscribing. But now, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.